trial, stop the 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 trial. The Deputy Chairman of the Illinois Black Panther Party, Fred Hampton.
All power to the people. And I just want to tell you that the chairman of the Black Panther Party is going to be ungagged, and they're going to have to take those chains off him. But they're only going to have to do that if there's enough organization and if there's enough education and if enough people know about the chairman's plight. And that's our job. That's what we're going to have to do. We're going to have to tell everybody in the world what's going on with Chairman Bobby. A lot of people reading the papers, every bus you get on, every building that you go into, they're talking about how cruel it is, the way they're treating Chairman Bobby Seale. And that's good, but what's not so good is that they don't understand that after Chairman Bobby Seale, it'll be me and you and everybody else. Because when they even get to the stage of fascism, they've gotten to a stage where they're going to do anything that they think is necessary to force people that don't want to dig on the shit that they're whooping on the people. They're going to force them to dig it. And they wouldn't even be doing this if it hadn't got to a stage like it is now. That thousands of people will come down to the Civic Center to denounce motherfuckers like Adolf Hitler, Hoffman, and Mussolini, Attorney Mitchell, and all these other fascists that's running our society. They wouldn't be down here now. And that's what we're down here for. Because we don't think that people that founded the Black Panther Party, the Liberation Party, the Vanguard Army for the revolutionary struggle on the international level, we don't think that's a person that's a criminal. As a matter of fact, we think that when Bobby Seale and Huey P. Newton got together in 1966, they got together as peacemakers, not as peace breakers. They got together to deal with the peace breakers. Peacemakers like the pigs, people that come in our community, occupy our territory like it's a foreign territory, as they do all over the world.
We're teaching people how to defend themselves and how to be armed, and there's nothing wrong with that. The only people that don't want you to have any guns are people that intend to use guns on you. We said there's something funny about the guns in our community. We don't mind there being guns in our community, but we said there's been a misdistribution of our guns. For some reason or another, they have all the guns. And we relate to Jesse James, you know, and things like that, that when Jesse James was on the street, the sheriff, he didn't think about harassing Jesse James.
All of us need to do all that we can to stop this rising tide of fascism. Because if we don't, we'll be in a situation similar to that situation that the Jewish people were in a few years ago. Now we understand very clearly that they've shown by their actions that they, the establishment, intend to play the role that Germans played. We have to show them by our actions that we do not intend to play the role that the Jews played. When they got together, Huey P. Newton and Bobby Seale, yes, they got together with guns, and there's nothing wrong with that, because we need some guns. Black people need some peace. White people need some peace. And we are going to have to fight. We're going to have to struggle. We're going to have to struggle relentlessly to bring about some peace, because the people that we're asking for peace, they're a bunch of megalomaniac warmongers.
He was killed so young. But he made so much of a contribution at an early age. It was an honor just to hear him speak, really.
Fred Hampton was a prince of a man. Fred Hampton was a man. Fred Hampton was a black man. Fred Hampton was a Black Panther. Fred Hampton was a bad motherfucker.
I remember someone in the room shaking Fred, saying, Chairman, wake up. Pigs are vamping. And I looked up and I saw like sparks of light coming. That's what I remember seeing, sparks of light coming like across the doorway to the bedroom. The person that was in the room with us said, stop shooting, we have a pregnant woman in here. Eventually the shooting stopped, and we were coming out. I was in front of the person that had came in the room to wake Fred up, and we had our hands up, and then they started shooting again, and I just knew they wanted to kill us. And one of the police grabbed me by the hair, and they opened my robe. I was 9 months pregnant. They said, "What do you know? We got a broad here." And they pulled me by the hair and pushed me through the line of police and pushed me into the kitchen area. I think the shooting started back again, and I heard somebody call from area in front of the kitchen area. He's barely alive. He'll barely make it. Shooting started again. I heard a male voice again say, "He's good and dead now." My mind, I kept reciting the 10-point program in my mind because I didn't want to focus in on what was happening. Because I just knew that they wanted to just kill us. I asked one of the police officers for a safety pin to pin my rope. It was winter time, the doors were open. And they took us out last in the snow. I just had on the house shoes, put us in a paddy wagon, and locked us up. One police station we went to, they had 2 officers. They did the good cop, bad cop routine and trying to get information. A reporter came in and wanted an interview. And I remember telling him, "You just have to explain to the people that we're living in a fascist society." He got really upset and walked away.
I killed him. I killed him. And when I say I mean all the white people in the United States killed Fred Hampton, just as we've killed every black man, because we stood by, racist all of us, and watched the society continue a slavery that was supposed to have died 100 years ago. And in general, I think we all share that basic responsibility for Fred Hampton's death, Medgar Evers' death, Martin Luther King's death, all friends of mine. In particular, he was killed by the system that is resisting every voice of dissent and every wind of change. In great particular, the state's attorney, Edward Hanrahan, killed him because he ordered the execution of a search warrant on a house which he knew contained Panthers and who he knew would shoot if their house was invaded. So he took a warrant which was signed in the early afternoon of the day before and executed it at 4:45 or so in the morning, at an hour when trouble was sure to erupt, when a warrant of that sort was attempted to be served. And what were they looking for? They had a tip there were some guns. Well, everybody knows Black Panthers have guns. There's no secret about that. So he was looking to provoke what he would like to call a shootout. The officers shot people dead in their beds and then claimed there was a shootout. Anyone looking at that house, looking at the condition of the walls and where the bullets went, can see that there was no shootout at all. What there was a shoot-in.
In the intervening years, nothing has changed to alter my opinion as to the truth of those remarks I made when I was angry, when I was in Chicago with the Chicago conspiracy trial when Fred was killed on December 4th of 1969. And my anger is the same today, probably a little better contained, but the same, because I live in a city where blacks are gunned down by police officers rather relentlessly and perpetually. And unless it is understood, we're going to have a continuum of this kind of society. And the word racist is not necessarily a moral term. With some people, of course, it is. But with most people, most white people, it's not a question of morality. It's a question of what they took in with their mother's milk. It's the fact that the word nigger is not very far from their lips. It's the fact that they really probably feel inside that white people are superior to other ethnic groups. Starting with Chicago, maybe a few of the southern cases before that, but certainly starting with Chicago, it became crystallized in my mind that the system, through its legality appearance, the appearance of justice, gives an impression that people who go through it are always treated fairly, and that if they're convicted, then they should have been convicted. If they're acquitted, they should have been acquitted.
And that's the terrible myth of organized society, that everything that's done through the established system is legal, and that word has a powerful psychological impact. It makes people believe that there is an order to life and an order to a system, and that a person that goes through this order and is convicted has gotten all that is due him.
In the courts, you'll get a fair trial. And besides, this is a federal court. A federal court. This isn't a southern racist Mississippi town. This is a federal court in a building designed by Mies van der Rohe. And you're being tried under a Civil Rights Act. A Civil Rights Act, what could be fairer?
I suspect that better men than the world has known, and more of them, have gone to their deaths through a legal system than through all the illegalities in the history of man. 6 million people in Europe during the Third Reich, legal. Sacco Vanzetti, quite legal. The Haymarket defendants, legal. The hundreds of rape trials throughout the South, where black men were condemned to death, all legal. Jesus, legal. Socrates, legal. And that is the kaleidoscopic nature of what we live through here and in other places. Because all tyrants learn that it is far better to do this thing through some semblance of legality than to do it without that pretense.
You probably, in your local hometown, you got a trial or two that ought to be stopped.